Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. I'm my buddy Rhett, and I've got her a nut. Here you go, baby. Oh no, we dropped it. There we go. So we are. It is Monday at 8:20 a.m. I have 40 minutes till work. 35 minutes before I need to get the heck off of this. My application is built. And I definitely feel like I have grown as a developer in a big way. I mean, the detached nodes is a very fascinating situation. I don't know about that. I think that's a flash in the pan. I don't think that's going to be the issue in the future. I think if the browser can figure out a node is detached, it can figure out to delete it. Um, the thing I feel like I've changed is in when I develop code, I typically want to, and I've always been a UI developer. I typically will make some sort of array or object, a dictionary, something, and then I present whatever information on the screen I need to do on that. And I've always done that in sort of a willy-nilly way. And I think I need to pay a little bit more attention when I do that in the future because when you're going to create something, you probably should also, in your mind, already have a strategy for how you're going to delete it as well. Um, because in this situation, now that I'm kind of thinking through the delete process, I thought delete when in the CRUD create, update, delete, and read, when you do the CRUD, the create, read, update, and delete, I've always considered delete to be the easiest one. You just delete it. But actually, in through all the coding schemes that I use, delete may be the most difficult because, like I said, I just willy-nilly create an object, create a reference to the object to another object, and then never think about it beyond then, other than maybe deleted it from that object. But I don't think, what if the parent, what if the thing that we're referring to gets deleted, needs to be deleted, and I just don't even think through that. And now that I've kind of started thinking through the way this application is architected, I have all kinds of dictionaries all over the place. And when you go to delete something, I probably need to make sure I'm going to have a scheme for properly deleting things, or I'm just going to create massive uh, memory leaks, especially when we start doing like imports of photos and movies and SVGs and um, STLs and things like that. So, anyways, the thing we're trying to fix at this point, we've sort of surfaced back up, and we're trying to work on delete again. We were trying to work on update, and as I moved through, a sort of a thing that I missed kind of happened. And at the time when I missed it, I'm pretty sure I missed it on purpose because I thought, oh, this will be easier to do down the line, and I was wrong. I think it would have been easier to sort of set up delete. Um, Earlier in the process because right now, like, I think I have issues in my animations. Like, I delete things and those things still, there's still references to them in the animation part of the code, things like that. So it's I've kind of created a mess for myself that I need to sort of see if I can figure out how to get out of it. But the thing I want to fix right now, and I'm hoping that it exposes a bunch of these issues as I fix it, is I want to go like this. And I want to add a viz. And then I want to be able to come in here and go into the tabular view and then uh, update and see that it's one. Okay, we always want it to be one when we delete it. When we create something, the first one, it should be one. And I think I'm hoping I remember to create a test, a Cypress test that checks that. And then I want to be able to come in here and go back to the delete, delete it. And then I want to create a new one. I want to hit add and then uh, close this up and then hit update. And I want it to be one, but see, it's 12 right now. I don't want it to be 12. I want it to be one when I create the first one. I guess it would be also interesting to go in here, add one, add two, close it, hit update 1 and it's 1, then go back, hit update. Oh, see, and that's weird, right? Like it's weird that when I create a new one, it's 9. And it seems like when I delete and I create something, it should be 12. So I don't understand why that number isn't coming together. And so these are bugs that aren't a big deal. They really aren't from a user perspective, but they definitely are indicative of underlying issues that I need to get resolved because it's already going to be kind of a mind bender to go through here and try to figure out how to fix these things, but it's going to get like geometrically like like every time it gets harder, it's going to be not like a little harder. It's not going to be like a linear growth. It's going to be like 3 times harder. And then as I add more card, it would be 5 times or 10 times harder. Like it's going to get really, really difficult to figure these sorts of things out. So I want to do that now. Um, all right, so let's go in here in the tabular view, hit add viz, and then hit delete and just figure out or do an inspect on this delete and figure out. So that's one way we could figure out what's going on here, right? We can come in here and we can look at the button and we could see, is that the delete button? Yeah, so as I click on this, it'll highlight the one that's done there. And I think I can look in here and see what um, its behavior is. It's not there. That's wild. So I thought I would see like a click handler in here, but I don't. I don't really understand why I don't see a click handler. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to our tabular view, our layout. So we have layouts, and our layout we have 3 different layouts right now. We have a custom layout, we have a tabular layout, we have an update layout. So this is our tabular layout because it's sitting in a table. Um, so in our tabular layout, we have a button, and it's called delete render ID. I don't understand why the delete viz button, we didn't see that in there. I kind of want to go look at that again. Inspect. See, this is delete viz button, but for some reason we don't see the click handler in here. So yeah, I don't know what that's all about. That's interesting to me. Um, I suspect what's happening is, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I must be getting all this uh, all this HTML must be getting rewritten. I mean, it does have a bunch, like it has this data CY tab index, but it's got these classes that I didn't add in. It's got this mat ripple loader class. It's got those sorts of things. So um, I guess it kind of grabbed this information and then did stuff to it. And I guess that's a big reason, like kind of regenerated this button. And I guess that's the reason why we like maybe we're creating these delete. We're creating like I wonder if I had made this a regular button. That would have been gosh, that would have been actually a very interesting test yesterday, or maybe whenever the last time I decided I was going to try, is just make this a regular button instead of a material button and see if that problem goes away. Maybe I'll circle back around and try that, but I don't. I just don't want to go back into that rabbit hole at this moment. It's more of an emotional thing than a thing. So I create a thing. So it looks like I kind of do 2 things. I tell the UI service to delete the renderer completely. So this is the renderer, and then I have a visualization service, and I say delete visualization for renderer ID. So it's very clear that I have 2 different dictionaries or something that I'm deleting from, which, is probably an issue for me and might be what's causing. So, all right. So I guess the next thing to do is, now that we kind of understand that, kind of try to keep that in the, like on the stack of things to try to remember, and then figure out. So one of these, okay, so when I create a new, when I do this, I create a new renderer, I believe, but I don't know that for sure. So let's go ahead and check that out. So we're going to go into our menu. I love you too, girl. App layout menu. I think this is probably, it could be app. Oh, it's probably app menu actually. Add button, add viz. So we add click viz handler. So we named it the visualization, the click visualization handler. So we were sort of thinking hardcore along the lines of the event itself. We weren't really thinking about what we're creating. We're just saying, hey, this visualization, this thing is based on an event that the user did. So I probably fire off a signal or something, and something's listening to that event, but we'll see. Run injection content. So this is clearly something that I did so that um, probably to get rid of like a um, some sort of timing issue or something like that, or maybe to get rid of that weird uh, item changed before, something like that. All right, so add. Okay, so this event prevent default basically stops the event from firing higher up in the process. I suspect I do that to not. I may not even need that anymore because I think I was doing that probably to keep the menu from closing. Um, so maybe at one point I'll just feel like doing something, probably to keep the menu from closing. Now I wish I had put a comment there at the time, right? Like so that I'd be like, oh, this is why this is there, and I would know I could get rid of it. All right. So this has the add visualization. So it looks like we create a renderer in the UI service. All right. Save that. App tabular layout component. Okay, let's swap back over here and see what our delete. UI service delete renderer. All right, so that's makes sense to me. There's a lot of, like, this uses the UI service to add a renderer. This uses the UI service to delete the renderer. Then this is doing something else. So let's go ahead and put a comment of what we think this is. It could be wrong. I think this deletes the renderer ID. Renderer itself. And so this one here, I don't know what it does. And this is, I'm like kind of doing something I've never really done before. And I'm like very focused on like I've never really been super focused on, oh, okay, so do I delete all references? I just don't even care. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Hey, rat. Um, okay, so uh, not sure. All right, so now let's go see what happens when we create a renderer. Okay, so I get a base renderer. So I think when I get a base renderer, I end up creating a whole bunch of different things like meshes and materials and all kinds of stuff. And then I publish the renderer change. All right. So the problem with this is over here, I go and I have this thing that just slaps together a bunch of things. It just gets all kinds of stuff. But what it doesn't ever do when I do this delete, I never go and delete all the stuff. I do like a prune visualization by render ID, which seems like it would do kind of the same thing that the other thing is going to do. That I kind of intended for this other, like when we're in the menu, not in the menu, when we're in here and we do the delete, it kind of that kind of feels like that is kind of what that does. But this is in visualization service. Uh, add render. So that's visualization service. Okay, I don't think I want this one anymore. I think that's distracting me now. We don't want that one anymore. And that's in visualization service. And when I delete, I go to visualization and I pruned visualizations by render ID. So it looks like I have like a different type of thing that yeah. So okay, so I think this okay, so we're in the UI service, and the first thing this does is it deletes the renderer ID, but it probably should delete more than just the renderer ID. It probably should delete everything that this created, but technically it's possible that when we create something, we may end up reusing that in a different visualization. So it gets a little bit more complicated. And I guess that's why I kind of punted it, because it was like, well, I'm not actually using it in multiple places. So then the question that is begging to be asked is, okay, what if I, at this point, since I can't really use them in multiple places, what if I just delete them everywhere? Um, and then in the future, when I can use them in multiple places, then write the code out at that point that prevents it from being deleted, that checks to see, hey, am I being used by anything else? I think that might be um, important. 838. All right. So basically, okay, to delete all, need delete all child, objects of the renderer. All right. So every renderer, like basically, if I console log this, okay, let's come over here. Okay, so we have our okay, and that's the other thing is, okay, we have two things going on here. We have a visualization service and a renderer service. Okay, so I don't really remember what the okay, I'm guessing the renderer service is all focused on just like creating a renderer. Okay, so yeah, here we go. So when we get a base renderer, we create a renderer ID. We generate the ID. Um, and then we create our renderer with the ID that we just generated. And then we create a ThreeJS renderer. Okay, so when we delete it, we need to make sure we delete the ThreeJS renderer. Okay, does this have a delete renderer by ID? Okay, so we have a delete renderer. See, all this thing does is delete our reference to it. It doesn't delete anything that was inside of it that got created. So we specifically go out and create a bunch of stuff when we create a renderer, but then we don't ever go delete all that stuff that we created. And on top of that, we never recycle the renderer ID. And we do have a function to recycle renderer IDs. So we need to add more functionality to this. At the very least, okay, so right now, all we do is delete it from the dictionary. Delete the renderer from the dictionary. Okay, one. We need to delete all the children. Delete all references. And we might need to do these in a, we probably need to do this in a different. We need first we need to delete all children from their dictionaries. And then we need to, then we delete this one. Oh, and then after this, we need to recycle the ID. So when I would imagine we'll delete the children from wherever they're at. So like if I'm deleting a mesh, it'll probably be in the mesh service. And when I delete when I delete when I delete anything, I'll probably be deleting it in its wherever it's done, right? And then recycle the ID, renderer ID. Right, so now what's weird about this is when I create a renderer, right? So I get my base renderer, right? This is this the where the create base renderer is? Yeah, get base renderer. Okay, first thing I do is this. Okay, so this will creates st object that describes the whole scene. I think that's what the whole scene. I think that's what this does. And I don't even know what I have. So, and I guess I'm gonna need to temporarily get. I just want to validate that I'm actually right. That the renderer that I get that I create is I guess I don't need to get a copy. I can just console log this dot get renderer by ID and st renderer ID. And then I'm just going to hit F12, go to my console log, get this a little bit smaller, and we are going to create one. Okay, so it is undefined, which is weird, right? Because let's just make sure st renderer ID is something. F12, add a renderer. Okay, so we do have a renderer, but we do not have a render. It doesn't exist, which is weird, right? Because we said create renderer. So I guess I was supposed to get that from the renderer service. And I need to figure that out. Man, we've got a mess here. And I really tried to be really careful on this. Oh, I know why. It's because we don't actually add it until we have it all put together. We're still putting it together. Yeah, here's where we end up creating the renderer and assigning it locally. So this hasn't been done yet. That, okay, so let's just double check that. Um, let's put a little note here. Renderer service. And then this thing is called a, okay, now I'm confused because, oh, this is ST renderer service. Ah, so we're creating a ThreeJS renderer. That's right. Man, early on I made the decision to not put ThreeJS in front of all the renderer stuff and to put ST in front of anything that was ST stuff. So this is our ST renderer service. This is our ThreeJS renderer service. I think it would have been better if it was this dot T3 renderer or TJS renderer service or something like that. I think that would have been so much better in retrospect. I definitely went back and forth ST renderer service, and that's this. F12, add a renderer. All right, so yeah, so this is a ThreeJS renderer. We definitely want to delete that. We aren't even close to deleting that. Now I don't know how we delete it. Now that I think about it, it's like, well, a ThreeJS renderer probably does have a function to delete itself. And then this is our ST renderer. So this is our stuff. This is the stuff that describes things the way we want it described, and this is the thing that describes how ThreeJS wants it described. And I bet you there's like a delete. And it is a WebGL renderer we're creating, which is a little bit higher up than, let's see, reset state. I don't even know. Maybe you can't even delete it. Okay, so this is a, oh, I was, so renderer service. Okay, so that's wrong. Create renderer. Yeah, okay, so this creates a ThreeJS renderer. I think. Oh, okay, so here's where we end up getting a reference to it. Okay. So I don't, okay, so I'm just going to be TJ renderer. Yeah, renderer. TJ, that's a ThreeJS renderer. If I just look down a little bit more, I could see that's what it was, but I needed to know that knowledge up here. TJ renderer. So this is our ThreeJS renderer. So when we delete this object, I'm wondering, do we need to actually go in and delete that from this object? Because I don't know, I think maybe as long as this object has a reference to this ThreeJS renderer, well, no. Okay, so I guess at this point I could do something like this. I've really never put a lot of thought into this deleting stuff before. So in effect, I'm deleting the renderer at this point. Now I'm saying that you can't do that. I equals null. See, and then like yeah, TypeScript is gonna really fight back on me. I'm gonna have to update my TypeScript to tell it that hey, one of these things can be null. And then when it can be null, then I think then it opens up that piece. It literally opens up that piece of memory for garbage collection. So I think that's what I have to do. Um, Now, once that is up, if it would delete this if that was the only reference to this ThreeJS renderer, but if there are any other references, it won't delete the 3 renderer. All right, so that I think that makes a little bit more sense to me. Okay, so here's where we end up creating a camera. Okay, so we do in fact have a camera. But see, we don't want to just delete our camera because I definitely want to be able to reuse cameras. So I think I need to put a function in this service to delete a camera by ID. And then I'll have well, yeah, I'll have a reference to the actual camera itself so I can get the ID and say, hey, set me to null. So like I think I'm gonna end up having to go through all of the TypeScript and saying, hey, and by the way, this can also be null, right? Because when I go to delete this thing, I think down at the delete, I actually want to get a reference to it and set it to null. Um, but if I try to do that right now, st_renderer, Angular just won't let me do it. Like there's nothing in JavaScript that prevents that, but Angular won't let me do it. Um, but it will give me a very, very useful. Okay, so it's upset that it's a constant, which I want to keep it a constant over here. So when we go to do that, we're going to do that. So anyways, so when we come to delete, we're going to end up doing that. So basically, I don't know. I just don't know. I haven't really thought through all this stuff, but I think what has to happen is I have to get a reference to the actual renderer. So it'll be like this, renderer. And it's an ST renderer, not a ThreeJS renderer. Equals, and then I guess it's this. And I guess it would be better to just use this dot get renderer ID, and then give it the ID, st_renderer ID. And see what I do is I actually mark it as deleted. And I think I'm doing that because deleting it is causing other things to break. But you know what? I think we're gonna have to figure that out. Because what we want is st_renderer to do that so that we can register it for to the garbage collector, but we don't want to do it quite yet because basically it's 8:54. Delete this and everything in it. And then F12, and then see the problem with a lot of once you start getting where you've got a lot of experience in software development, is you don't know what you don't know, and you do I do projects like this so that I can figure out things that I don't know, and now I've discovered that I don't know crap about deleting things in JavaScript, and so this is my opportunity to learn that, and I don't know, I just um, there'd be no point to start from scratch and saying, okay, now I'm going to build delete into this because I don't know how to do that. So I need to figure out how to do that. Okay, so delete this and everything in it. And deleting, setting something to null. Let's just double check that piece of that assumption. So in JS, if you set an object to null, does that qualify by the object for collection by the GC for garbage collector? Yes. Eligible, yeah. But only if there are no other references to anywhere in memory. Okay, so even if you set it to null, but the thing is it's so funny that it always uses my name. Um, okay, okay, but so if anything else is using it, is referencing it, does the reference have a null in it? So maybe set it to null isn't good enough. Okay. Okay. But if okay, so that will not actually wipe. But if I through go through the object and null every attribute, does that make the attributes? No, that won't either. And I attribute to undefined. That make the object unusable to anything has a reference to it. I just thought of that just now. Now the points to the name undefined age still points to the same object but empty. You've kept the object itself still in memory. Okay. Make the object useless. So yeah, so basically I guess that's what I need to do. Let me just write that down. Thing in everything in every attribute and it to null, to undefined. Thus making the object useless and fix it where it breaks. So basically, I think the approach, and I don't know if this approach is going to work, but my current approach is I'm going to go through object, set everything in the object to undefined. So basically, I am not deleting whatever it's pointing at. I'm just setting everything in this object to undefined. And then probably before I do that, I'll probably tell it that whatever wherever it lives to delete it, and then set it to undefined where in this object. And then what'll happen is this object becomes useless. That object can that whatever is taking care of it can set it to can determine whether it needs to be kept alive or not. And if not, it can also set itself to null, and that will be that. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.